And it's time for Western Kabuki, friends. We are once again going to be talking about the very important situation developing out of Mexico. We do have confirmation of an alien life form, so we now go live to my esteemed co-host Juniper. What do you think about the dusty alien in Mexico?
I would beat him with hammers. Me and my buddies, just straight with hammers.
Hell yes,
take care of him.
Fuck him up.
It's over. Yeah, can't handle that dude. He's done.
Our unidentified aerial phenomenon expert, Caleb, the bird respecter. Caleb, what do you think about this little guy that they got down there in Mexico?
Fucking creep. Not a fan.
0 out of 10 guy.
Get him some lotion. Disgusting.
And we are honored and privileged to be joined by the freelance tech journalist and writer of the Garbage Day newsletter, Ryan Broderick. Thank you so much for joining us. Ryan, how are you today?
I am great. I actually messaged my friend who he's a reporter in Mexico, and I was like, yo, I heard you guys got aliens. And he's like, no, the Peruvians have aliens. We just took them, and we're going to tell everyone about them. But he didn't say it wasn't real. So I feel like,
What does he know?
Exactly.
I feel like it would be far more believable if it didn't just look like E.T. Like it looks like E.T., right? Like I'm not the only one that thinks that.
Yeah, he looks exactly.
Yeah.
Well, he looks like
E.T.
the little worm in your profile picture, June.
Yeah. It's like a little worm guy. Yeah. Also, my boomer moment. When did we start calling it UAP? Why isn't it UFO anymore?
The 2017 or something like that.
Yeah, it is a Tom DeLonge thing. The ufologists, they get upset about it.
Awesome.
They get upset.
They wanted to have more credibility. So if you say UAP, you're not a pervert.
Yeah, I think
Cool.
I think it is like a Tom DeLonge thing of like those kind of guys got mad at calling it UFOs, but I think it was actually a Neil deGrasse Tyson thing of like, if it's unidentified, then you don't know what it is, which means it's not a flying saucer. It just means you don't know what it is. So now they can say it's an aerial phenomenon that hasn't been identified.
Yeah. I think that with the aliens, something that I don't know how just didn't get discussed, but yeah, as Ryan said, they come from Peru initially, the quote unquote mummies. I can't remember the name of the place they're from, but the journalist Jamie Musan or something like that, I can't remember his name. He's been involved in like multiple hoaxes and UFO just like bullshit in the past. So I don't know how like this wasn't just immediately bullshit. I don't know why.
Yeah, that specific guy has been dismissed out of hand by multiple people.
He might have gotten it this time though. This might be the time.
This is the one. It's the same little guy. He's been pitching this little guy for like 15 years.
He found a fucked up little guy, and he's like, "Everyone, pay attention to my fucked up little man that I found." And this is it. He did it. I'm proud of him.
Yeah, that was a big moment. Very happy for him.
Yeah, it's a big
all I know is I'm going to be
little guys.
I'm just going to become a trad type person. Like how there's those like the statue AVIs on Twitter. I'm going to be a trad person, but for UFOs. We're bringing it back.
Yeah,
saucers and gray aliens. Only
okay, like classic, like 90s, not like ancient aliens, because I feel like that's a whole thing too.
I feel if it wasn't on X-Files, it's none of my fucking business.
What we're learning about June as the show progresses is that like, she wants to dead name Twitter. She wants to bring back old aliens. She's like a non-traditional traditionalist.
June's a bully.
I'm a bully. I'm a boomer. That's the two main things about me.
This is the thing. You have to represent the Midwest in the only way you know how.
You've also gone to bat for boomers
elites.
quite a few times, June. I have to say that's commendable.
Wait, in what way? What have I gone to bat for?
Oh, I don't know. It was like Henry Winkler's fishing posts or something. You were like, this is why boomers actually kick it, which is true, by the way. His fishing posts are so good.
I would also say, since you've pitched it, you mentioned it on the show, your father's whole vibe as well, I think does
also
count
true
as going to bat for boomers.
Okay, I'm a little bit of a boomer defender.
Okay. You heard it here first. June is boomer pilled.
All right, so Ryan, we invited you on to talk about fucked up little guys that are actually guys, real guys that are fucked up. Because you've been on the fucked up guy beat for a while.
I love fucked up internet people. Yeah.
I want to ask you first about the more recent article you talked about with Elon's low tech speed run that we've got cooking up here. So yeah, what's your general opinion on what X.com, the everything app, looks like right now?
Wow. So I feel like every couple days I like wake up and I check it and I go, I'm never going to come to this site again. And I'm pretty sure the only reason that I'm even opening it on my phone, pretty much, it's only exclusively on my phone at this point, because I was a TweetDeck user. I'm not paying for TweetDeck. So I just don't use Twitter on my computer. I'm not going to refresh a page like it's 2004. Like, it's ridiculous. So I think at this point it's muscle memory and the fact that it opens slightly faster than Blue Sky. That's the only reason that I'm
like 1 second faster. At that second, that's a valuable 1 second, though. I think.
Yeah, I will also say, like, I travel a lot out of the country, and Blue Sky, if you leave America, just doesn't work very well. Like, the lag is like very real, and I don't know why. I don't have enough of a back end knowledge to know why, but it just doesn't really work super well on low internet speeds. Like, that was the nice thing about Twitter, is that you could just like pull it and then experience horrors beyond your imagination and then go back to your life.
Well, the thing with Blue Sky is there's like 3 guys that work on it. It's got like such a small team. So that's why there's not many updates.
Couldn't be a nicer group of guys, though. They're so cute whenever they're like, damn, a lot of y'all are using this today, huh?
They're so happy. They get so excited when Elon announces a new feature on Twitter, because they get like 50,000 new users anytime Elon says anything.
Yeah, I mean, his most recent development in the low tech speedrun was the him saying he's going to start charging for the website. Was that a real headline that he said, or no?
So he was like in a live stream with
Benjamin
Netanyahu, and he was
insane.
Oh my God, they need to start a podcast together, please.
A Philadelphia native, we stand. No choice but to stand.
And he like came across this like idea that he would start charging in some capacity, and then Community Notes eventually cleared it up by saying that what he's doing is he's going to charge for like a lower tier. That seems to, but like none of his ideas are real. So like, I don't really take it very seriously, but it was enough that it caused apparently the record amount of signups for Blue Sky ever.
I think it finally crossed 1 million users.
It did. Yeah. It's 1.1 as of this afternoon when I was checking, which is very exciting.
Yeah, the codes were flowing like wine over the course of those couple of days. People just posting codes to the timeline. Like it's been a really I don't know. I think that, you know, that one post where the person said that Elon was going to kill himself was really excellent.
I love it. The community notes chipped in.
The community note was trending. The phrase "the community note" was trending.
Easily, that's easily one of the best posts of 2023.
Yeah,
there's been like a couple posts like in a similar vein like that where they essentially are like Elon. Like there was one I saw that was like, damn, I bet Elon would be really good at killing himself, and like that's gotten over 100,000 likes. But of course, that account got suspended. Like there's been all of these like insane posts telling him to kill himself that get a ton of likes. Like just.
Do you think that affects him?
Yes.
That's the thing.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he feels every piece of content. I think he's in like a Boschian hell in which every post that involves his name he like consumes, because he doesn't sleep, right? He just like stays up cleaning old weaponry or something. Like he has like I keep learning more about his like weird old gun collection, which apparently he has. And like, so I think he's just reading
But
posts.
he's not like cleaning them properly. He's like vacuum cleaning a blunderbuss and like putting a flintlock.
He's
pistol
accidentally
into a
shot himself
blaster
3 times.
Yeah.
There's a story in the Walter Isaacson book about Grimes going to do her voice acting for Cyberpunk 2077 and him showing up with a 200-year-old musket and insisting on a cameo.
Which like
That's
who
cool.
among us?
That's
Who
cool.
among us
That's
hasn't
cool.
shown up to a Grimes recording session with a musket? Like it's
Just average behavior.
yeah.
No,
Normal.
but like genuinely imagine the thought. Like, you own a website, you open, like, okay, imagine this. You're in bed. It's like 6 a.m. whenever you wake up. You open the app that you own, and over 100,000 people have liked a post telling you to kill yourself. Like, that has got to get to you.
Man, I don't even read the comments on the Western Kabuki Twitter account. I can't imagine being the least funny human being on earth with the biggest social media website on earth.
Yeah, and it's so great that he's having his biography written by Special Agent Walter Isaacson, because I think that, and I'm gonna call him by his full title because I read that fucking Steve Jobs suck job that he did right before Steve got killed by
That's the same
a very
guy.
curable. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know
He wrote
that.
He wrote the Steve Jobs biography, which I read right after Steve Jobs died. You guys know I was lib-pilled for a period of time, and I read that whole thing. And even back then I was like reading it, and I was like Steve Jobs approached Walter Isaacson to write that book, which, by the way, so did Elon Musk. I don't know if that's been confirmed, but 100% Elon Musk.
It was confirmed because it's part of the Genius series, and it includes Steve Jobs and Edison, I guess, and a couple others. And he was like, "I'm a genius. I should be next."
I read that. That kicks so much ass.
So
Yeah, that's
Isaacson was
great.
writing his biography about Edison. He had already written one about Benjamin Franklin and Einstein. And Steve Jobs approaches him and said, "You should write a book about me." And the only two books he had out were Benjamin Franklin and Einstein. And Isaacson was like, kind of funny that this guy puts himself in the same league as those guys so unashamedly.
Oh, don't sell him short. He'd also written a biography of Henry Kissinger, so.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that's the other one. That was the other one. Yeah.
Friend of
Yeah,
the show.
Special Agent Walter Isaacson has been doing this for a while.
Well, look, I think Elon Musk and Edison would have a lot to talk about. Just being just prolific pieces of shit, and I think like they would really get along.
Oh, Edison would be horrified that we haven't had an answer to the JQ yet. Once he gets into a robe with Elon, they could really chop it up about that for a while.
Him reacting to this notion that he's anti-Semitic by posting virulently anti-Semitic stuff has been, I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but like I was genuinely surprised that one week he was like, "I can't believe that I'm being accused of being anti-Semitic," and then the following week being like, "George Soros is undermining the fabric of democracy."
How can I be anti-Semitic? Some of my best lawyers are Jews. Yeah, he's like, I think it's I'm so excited for the Isaacson biography when it comes out or is it out already? I'm like.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
not out.
understand. I don't understand promotional cycles anymore. Movies take like 9 months to come out. I don't understand what's going on anymore.
It's so
Wait, are you talking
yeah.
about the Elon book? Because it's I'm pretty sure it's out.
It's
because
out.
I don't know if you guys
The Elon book
Jenny
is out.
Jenny Tightpants has been reading through it and posting like some of the more insane segments.
Oh God!
like,
And look at the
past few
fucking
days.
photo on the cover. Come on, bro. This is embarrassing. Yeah,
I've been
probably,
meaning to illegally steal / download that book for a minute. I need
I'll
to
put
read
it.
that.
I'll put the audiobook on my Plex server. And,
There you go.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, it is. It's just I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm sure it is full of absolute nonsense because the Steve Jobs book was full of absolute nonsense where they're just like, yeah, he's a really smart guy. He just happens to yell a lot. And it's like, maybe the other people are smart and this motherfucker's just the one yelling. You ever think of that? Yeah, it's so funny because since like, let's say the low tax speed run does conclude before the end of the calendar year.
oh boy.
It's like, what's going to happen to X and Tesla and SpaceX between now and maybe a year from now if Elon is no longer confined to this mortal coil? Because I think that it's not going to get better with him gone. Like, he has fucked it up so tremendously, and I would say the same was true of Apple and has continued to be true.
Yeah, I mean, I won't I'm not going to speculate on whether or not he doesn't survive the year, but I will say, I will say that if he were to say leave the company, right? Like it doesn't get better. Like none of these sites ever bounce back. MySpace is probably the best example, but once you screw up a website like this, you can't fix it. You just can't.
It's so like just so much different from even just a year ago. Like you can't just reverse code it. There's too much to undo. Like it's a totally
you would have to immediately ban about 20% of the users. And I do think that everyone on this call may end up being collateral damage from that kind of action. So
God, I hope so.
Oh yeah.
Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I sort of feel like Twitter was kind of like, I mean, I know you were a big Tumblr user back in the day, and I feel like Twitter became sort of like a home base for you for a while. I personally sort of feel like a social media refugee right now. Like I don't feel like there's a home for me, because Twitter was definitely the place I hung out most. And I'm curious if like there's a place that feels like it is your place now, or if like maybe that's just not a thing we should be expecting from social media anymore. Like I'm curious what you think about that.
Well, so I still use Tumblr every day. I really like Tumblr, but it's not like a social thing for me. It's just like a Pinterest of memes, right? It's just like reblogging stuff. I spend a lot of time on Reddit just lurking, but that's because I spent the pandemic being like, okay, I'm going to like follow subreddits and like
it's time to get into subreddits.
Yeah, it's time to, you know what? I can't go outside or speak to other people. I should get into Reddit.
So that's what I gotta hear. I gotta hear what your favorite subreddits are. What are some good? What are some
awful.
good subs?
I just follow.
They're
like
awful.
I just follow like whatever subreddits I'm like for the TV shows I'm watching and watch them spiral out of control, or like some of the relationship subreddits are good. But I was basically trying to like not consume Reddit ironically. That's what I was just like, okay, can I just like look at it? Because I need to look at something, you know, during the day. But it isn't really a Twitter replacement. It doesn't have that same thing of like that mix of like hate reading and earnestly liking stuff, which I really miss about Twitter. But at the same time, I do feel better now that I'm not on Twitter all the day. Like I just feel better.
I feel like the slow deterioration of Twitter was like at this point it is very palpable to anybody who has paid attention that like Twitter is just not what it was, and being on there every day makes your brain bad if you are just like free scrolling the timeline.
Yeah, plus like Twitter now, which is nice, doesn't seem to have any like real world like value. Like it used to be you had to like stare at Twitter all day because like if you took your eye off of it, like your life was ruined in some capacity.
Right. Yeah.
And now it's
100%.
like, oh, like I won't check it for 2 days and like nothing happens and whatever, who cares?
You'll come back and be good. Like, wait, bicycles themselves are ableist, or is it something about a guy who does the Western chauvinist bicyclist had something to say? You have to figure out what.
There's multiple John Fettermans running around. Like, I mean, whatever. Who cares? Yeah, it sounds good. Sure.
Are you even the real Ryan Broderick?
If I shave, I will make I will be a new person completely.
No, he's the fake Ryan Broderick. He's the real Matthew Broderick. And we got some questions about Ireland 1981 for you.
No, but it's something I think we all read a couple of your articles, and this has been something like I think a couple of people have noticed too, is there's not really like main characters on Twitter in the same way as there used to be. It's kind of shifted. It's like there are main characters, but it's like they're smug about it. It's sometimes like, especially it depends on the blue check status, of course. As you outlined, I think it was like the tale of two.
Oh yeah.
Characters,
Well, now you can make money by becoming a main character, so it sort of takes the teeth out of it. It does feel like looking back that like Bean Dad was it. Like that was And what's what's so crazy when I go back to it all the time is that Bean Dad was like the day before the insurrection.
Bean Dad was cut short.
Yes,
because of the insurrection.
Do you know that? Do you know, Ryan, that Caleb was the inception of Bean Dad?
Yeah,
I had forgotten about that.
Sorry, guys, that was my bad.
Don't be sorry, because it was the last good day on Twitter, so you were responsible for that.
I never really played an important role online for anything, despite being kind of in the periphery of everything that's gone on since I got online. It is nice to kind of be like the Grim Reaper for Twitter, if that's the case.
Yeah, you were the last. You were leading the last mob that mattered. That's great.
And it was a great one.
It was on accident. Legitimately was an accident. I fell asleep. I had no idea that had been going on for hours by the time I woke up.
See, that's what Twitter used to be like. You couldn't even sleep because like it was tearing the fabric of reality apart. And now it's like whatever.
But that's what Elon thought. Elon thought, oh, this is a platform for problem drinkers and insomniacs and autists, and I'm kind of all those things. So I'm gonna hop on the train. And it's like, no, bro, you're the wrong kind of all of those things. You're the wrong kind of all of them.
Did you see the passage in the Isaacson book about like why he bought Twitter?
No, but I'm sure it's a lie.
It's so stupid that I think it might be right, which is that apparently he became convinced that it made his daughter come out as trans.
Yeah.
And that he wanted to stop the woke mind virus from infecting people. And then, as Grimes explains in another interview, he doesn't like trans people because he's obsessed with human fertility and he thinks that like there's some connection there. So it's all coming back to like his need to come, essentially, which is just.
I totally believe that too. Because how many times, maybe this isn't normal, but like I'll occasionally like check in with what Elon posts about, and he'll occasionally post about like fertility rates of other countries. So I totally, and I mean the way that he focuses on trans people, on just fertility, just all of these topics. And then of course I think one of the like early on when he bought Twitter, one of the main things that prompted him, other than his daughter, was to reinstate the Babylon Bee account and bring Seth Dillon back. So I totally believe that that's the reason why he bought it. I mean, he said so multiple times. It's
like the holy trinity of his daughter, the Babylon Bee, and the fact that he hates condoms so much he'll spend $44 billion to destroy Twitter.
And to him, that's like saving the world. That he like genuinely thinks he's like saving the world by doing this.
The interesting thing is that like for all of Elon's racism and psychopathy, it's not about white birth rates for him. It's about all birth rates. We need as many people.
He wants a lot of debt slaves on Mars. So he doesn't really care about the race of the babies.
Slaves. He wants debt slaves on Mars.
Yeah, that's his whole. Yeah, he said this in an interview that he wants to take people to Mars and then he pays for the trip and then they work the debt off. That's like his plan. He's said this multiple times.
Oh my God.
And he's like, simple solution.
Indentured servitude.
Indentured servitude in space.
It's crazy how like the things he says are just like the parody, like in like a film or a story of like what an evil corporation would do.
It's literally an Onion article that Jeff Bezos tables new labor idea when he realizes it's just slavery.
Yeah, exactly.
But Elon is like, we're not tabling that idea. I think
we'll do it on Mars.
Legs.
He's like, this is how we make Star Trek real.
A defining aspect of Star Trek.
Yeah, guy who's never seen Star Trek voice.
Yeah, and the dystopian future of humans.
Famously capitalistic entertainment, Star Trek.
I was under the impression that he hated trans people so much because Chelsea Manning started dating Grimes.
That was the joke for a long time, and I choose to believe that version because it's funnier. But I do think it's like a much pettier, dumber reason. Like, because that's always the truth with these guys, is that it's just the petty, dumbest thing you can imagine, and then go dumber, and that's probably what's happening.
I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. Like, well, not specifically Grimes dating Chelsea Manning, but like going like maybe partially that, but a lot of just like the like wokeness. Like whatever, like the big bad guy of wokeness is like I think he actually thinks that's like a bigger threat than most other things, but it is, I think, also linked to just fertility. I do think it's a little bit of like both of those types of things.
I think that like that makes me think of just talking about like his sort of hyperfixation and shit. It's like I remember when The Social Network, the movie, came out. and everybody was like, well, it's fictionalized. Mark Zuckerberg didn't actually do this to get pussy. And then Mark Zuckerberg was basically like, well, I mean, kind of did.
He did not do it to get
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They were like, you founded a clone of hotornot.com and turned it into a global phenomenon. And he's like, hell yeah. And then they made the movie and they're like, no, he's actually a genius. He's so much smarter than pussy. And he's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not smarter than pussy. And yeah, I just think that like with the sort of development of Twitter into this like death spiral and Facebook into a very different death spiral with like AI and the metaverse and everything. Like, Ryan, you've written a couple of things about this. Like, how do you see the future of non-Twitter social media? Like, what do you like, just going off of the stuff you've written on Garbage Day? Like, what's what are you seeing out there? What are your dispatches from the field?
I think it's small. I mean, Discord seems like the clear winner here. And I would have said Reddit before the API stuff, but it feels like it went like people jumped from Twitter to Reddit. Reddit got too messy and crazy, and like people, like casual users, just leave a site when that happens. And it feels like everything's kind of flowed down into Discord or some equivalent, like a WhatsApp group or a DM group. And then
Telegram.
Telegram. I mean, I'm in like, Nick Fuentes' Telegram, all the good ones.
There's probably gold
all the stars are here.
Oh yeah, I'm hanging out with
crazy.
a bunch of Russian military members in Telegram right now. It's great. But I do think like messaging apps are where it's going to be for a little bit, which is good and bad. You can't really discover them easily, and you can't really understand like when jokes or culture bubbles up out of them, but you do get weirder stuff. But it doesn't really feel like any major company is like interested in preserving a central feed. Like they're all trying to hijack them. Have you seen the newest thing where if you log out of Twitter and you go to your profile, it'll show your tweets in popular order, not recent?
I'm not seeing that.
What is this?
I just saw this like literally as I was coming into the interview, so I haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll work. Let me try. Which like to me just means like, hold on, here we go. Oh my God. Yeah, there it is. There's me with the tweet that got me in trouble with the voice actor for Pikachu.
This is like a discourse.
Wait,
reminder.
when you say the voice actor for Pikachu, do you mean Ryan Reynolds or the lady who voiced Pikachu? For
the lady who
years?
voiced Pikachu DM'd me and was mad because I was retweeted 150,000 times.
Isn't she also one of the Powerpuff Girls and one of the Rugrats as well?
I don't know about that, but she DM'd me because I said that it was fucked up that Pikachu speaks human words in one of the movies.
Yeah.
And it was retweeted like way too much and she got mad. Anyways, but the point is like, it's clear. See, this was what Twitter used to be about.
Yeah.
But it's clear that like Elon Musk is clearly like turning Twitter into Facebook, because if you apply capitalism to any website, it just becomes Facebook. So like the chronological feed goes away, everything gets sorted by popular, and it doesn't really flow normally, and no website wants to pick up the slack other than Blue Sky. And as you said, 3 people work there, and it crossed over 1 million followers like today. So it's there isn't really a replacement, I don't think.
The thing with like Elon Musk specifically, but like probably he's not going to be the only one, is he hasn't realized what a lot of us have realized post Bernie primary, that like he thinks posting and social media is going to like save the world. It's going to like change everything. If he can just post good enough, the world he wants will come true, which we learned. Posting can be a force for like some good, but it's really not going to change the world. Like posting is just for like shit at this point. Like you actually got to do like real world stuff. Posting won't change the world.
I mean, it used to, and the people, I mean, I don't want to sound like too like radical, but like it used to be able to like move that kind of needle, and it doesn't. And I don't think it's an accident that it doesn't anymore. It's because the people on the other side of that needle don't want it to. So they would much rather have you like in a rabbit hole that's constantly feeding you different kinds of dog videos based on your eye movements, rather than like a thing that could, mobilize a political movement. Like we had all of that 10 years, 15 years ago, and we don't anymore. And it's like,
when you say that, are you referring to like the Arab Spring?
I'm even referring to Trump. Like, I mean, like there was no real like political compass to this stuff. It was just like you could like the insurrection to me is like this breaking point where like all these companies are like, whoa, I don't want to deal with this anymore. And they've all in the last 2 years like just turned the knob down on all of that stuff. And so, I mean, we haven't really seen another social movement from the internet to reach that scale. And I'm not sure we will for a long time, if ever again, that way. But yeah, I think Occupy, Arab Spring, Black Lives Matter. All
I
that
think
stuff.
you're 100% correct in like calling out, you know, those chat texting apps, Discord, etc. Because I think that is, and we've talked about this a lot in the show, but I think that is the real future of the internet, is these sort of siloed, more independent areas. Like Mastodon is impossible to understand what's going on, but I think
I'm not a furry. I can't use it. I have no idea. I don't have the powerful brain of a furry. I can't figure it out.
Once we isolate the furry gene, then, then we can solve this. We can like implant it. We can Neuralink.
I need to Neuralink into a furry, and then I can use Mastodon. Yeah.
If they isolate the furry gene, I hope they find a cure for me. But
I want a second one. I want to be a bigger furry.
I mean, Whack, you call this the future of the internet, but it's like very much also the past. Like that's what the internet was
that's
before.
What I was gonna say is that it's so siloed. It's so like it need like the future of the internet will be, I think, birthed on some sort of chat server based app type of thing, but it is very difficult because like there's no benefit in using any social media to any meaningful degree anymore. There's nothing you learn in a way. Like you used to be able to talk to like a person at like your job, and if you were like, that is so cottagecore, a year ago somebody would have been like, oh shit, you're like an online person. But now it's like the Barbie movie used the phrase cottagecore or whatever. So it's like it's not catching up. It's not developing at that same rate. And I think that is like the really difficult thing. And I think that's why we all need to migrate to the subreddit wicked_edge. This is a shaving subreddit.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go.
They are
logging in. Let's do this.
I'm an active user. I asked you about your favorite subreddits in the bleak hope that you would say my favorite subreddit is a shaving subreddit called
Holy
Wicked.
shit. Oh, I'm joining this right. See, this is what I like about Reddit.
It's the best subreddit.
Is there a lot of drama about different brands of razors? Because that's what I'm into.
Bro, you don't even razors or razor cartridges, razor holders, shaving soap containers.
What I need to know
brushes.
is Forgiato Blow. Is Forgiato Blow here?
He has
to. I need to learn his style.
How else are you going to get that
Blow
Nintendo
could never.
64 ass beard?
Forgiato Blow
teach me.
is so smooth in the parts that don't have hair, and then has hair in the parts that do, and it's fascinating. It's like
If
a baby wearing a wig.
I'm going to post a
on-
picture of Forgiato in this subreddit right now and ask how to get that look and see what happens.
Yeah, yes.
Please do it.
We'll
Now
talk
we're
about this
talking.
at
Yes.
at the end of the
This is
episode.
Reddit.
We'll go back.
Now this is Reddit.
And the thing is, like with this subreddit, like there's like you post that on Twitter, you get like some people trying to riff, but you post that in this subreddit, you're gonna get like 50 Derek guys, the manswear guys, genuinely trying to like answer you this question.
And those are the guys I want to reach. I want I've like found like a newfound love for a thing that I had kind of forgotten about the internet, which is that like it's full of obsessives just battling, and they're not really doing it for clout. They're just fighting. And I want that stuff. And I think like that's what I've replaced Twitter with, is like, I found a couple dudes who collect synthesizers on YouTube, and they fucking hate each other.
Oh man.
Who are you talking? Hello. Hi. Let me turn my camera over here. What are we talking? Who are we talking about?
I'll get their names. I'll send them to you, but it's great. Cause like I like synthesizers a normal amount, but these guys don't. And I love that.
How do they battle? What do you mean? What do they do?
Well, there's been a lot of drama in the synth community over the last couple of years because of what kicked it all
Behringer?
off? Like the Behringer stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
because of
it got
Behringer.
worse from there. But it's
Wait,
good.
I'm sorry, I'm not up to date. What happened with Behringer?
So
Okay.
Behringer's a massive company. They're so big that they have like their own factory in Shenzhen. And one of the things that they have started doing is when the patent expires on classic synthesizers, sometimes even not classic synthesizers, sometimes things that the patent hasn't expired on, but they're such a big company they can't be fought with. They just make like a very cheap knockoff, which then undercuts like they've got so many cheap knockoffs of Moogs that like Moog synthesizers is struggling as a result. Like I think they just sold actually because
that's capitalism. You know, should be better at capitalism. Sorry, Moog.
Just a downward spiral. Yeah, downward spiral.
You know,
I gotta say I can't hate on Behringer because their Tube Screamer amp is a 1-to-1 on the Ibanez. It is,
you got to get involved,
and it's fucking $30.
They made their fortune. They made their fortune cloning Boss guitar pedals, and now they've found that all the synth nerds are like, oh well, I can also get your copy of the Moog Mini Moog.
But wait, to bring
$300.
this background to content, here's my favorite thing about this whole thing is that synth YouTubers realized that if you make outrage videos about Behringer, you get a lot of views. But then they started calling each other out about their Behringer call out videos because like they were part of the system that like they're just like monetizing it. And I'm in heaven. Like I think that stuff is great.
The Behringer Industrial Complex.
Exactly. The Behringer Outrage Content Industrial Complex. And like that intersection of like insane obsessive nerds between Reddit and YouTube. That's my sweet spot right now. That's where I'm having the most fun.
There's so much like capital, like social capital in outrage content.
So the shaving, the shaving equivalent of that is Porosoro, which is an Italian brand of shaving soap. That there aren't any like cheap American brands of shaving soap. So
no, of course not. Why? Yeah,
all the American brands are expensive. My favorite being Barrister and Mann, but they yeah, I'm active. I don't use the Wack Nicholson name, so you're not going to find me on there. But the Porosora started showing up at like TJ Maxx's for like $3, and all the European shaving soap guys were like, why do you care that you can get Porosora? You can get that at fucking CVS. And it's like, not in America, motherfucker. And it's $3 here, and there's no import tax or whatever. So like, and people were arguing. There was a long, I stopped being active in the subreddit for a long time because there was a really protracted debate as to whether or not you should use Astro blades because they have a nickel core instead of they have a copper core instead of their like nickel, 100% nickel. And it was like a whole thing of like, you can't even resharpen the blades because they're garbage. That's the internet. That's what the internet should be.
I love autistic people, dude. Autistic people are so awesome.
The best part about like Reddit stuff is like, you'll find like a user, you'll get to know them. And then like, 8 months, 9 months in, they're like, hey, I'm divorced. I got more time to post now. And like, that's the stuff. That's the good stuff, Just got divorced, guys. Look at my Funko Pop collection. I got more time to collect now.
Just got
divorced.
Pop collection in the divorce.
Just got divorced. This bitch isn't gonna take any of my Osiris razors. She isn't gonna take a single one. That's the internet, and that's the only thing the internet should be good for is dunking on your bitch wife, your bitch ex-wife, and
that's right.
And collecting.
I do have to say though, there is something about like being dunked on or like being the site of discourse about like something like pretty harmless. Like I think 2 weeks ago now, I made like a pretty tongue-in-cheek post about multi-fandoms. I don't know if you guys happen to see that. So I basically made a pretty like tongue-in-cheek joke saying like I channeled my boomer-esque love for like the old folks, and I was like, oh, like people made a new word for having multiple hobbies, and I basically was like just kind of poking fun at it, and a bunch of people got so
That's the
mad at
maddest
me.
I think I've ever seen people get at you online, Juniper.
Yeah, and it wasn't even
and people get mad at you all the
time.
time, every fucking day online. That's like I feel like there are people who are probably doing that as like a hobby, being mad at you.
Yeah. Oh, there absolutely is. There's people in my replies all the time that I'm like, oh, this is their third reply of the day, just being pissed off at me. Awesome. But the multi-fandom one, Caleb, you're right. Like people just lost it. And I was just like, I would go back to check the quote tweets, just laughing. I don't know. It was
such a silly thing.
Fun. Yeah, to be that mad about. And there's like something fun about that, but like when it could potentially ruin your life, that's a different story. That's a little scarier. But like there's some harmless fun in like doing some of that like harmless discourse.
Yeah.
It is weird how like once like normal non-white nationalist professional people started to leave Twitter, like the stakes just went way down. And it's like, it's making me think that like, just like the managerial class is really messy and like they're really dramatic because like we didn't have to live like that for 15 years. Like normal average people were getting their lives ruined by going viral on Twitter like once a week for a while. And then everyone's boss left the site and it just like stopped doing that. That's crazy to think about.
I think the only case I can think of that happening sort of, and her life isn't even ruined. The lady that was on the airplane.
I was going to say Justine Sacco.
Yeah.
So
that's not real.
The Justine Sacco.
No. You're talking about a different airplane lady. The You're Not Real well, Justine Sacco was the original airplane lady.
That's like 10 years ago that I'm talking about.
And she created like the whole genre of airplane ladies. And this is the newest one.
Tell me about Justine. Hang on. This one's new to me.
You don't know about Justine Sacco?
What? You know,
Caleb,
the most famous canceling in
Caleb.
History? What?
Justine Sacco. I got you. I'll say it, and I'll say it clean into a microphone. Justine Sacco was some type of professional person.
She's a PR person, wasn't she?
She's a PR person for IAC. She was like a media PR person. Yeah.
She tweeted in like 2011 even. She was like
2013.
13, so literally 10 years ago. And she said, about to get on a plane to Africa. Hope I don't get AIDS. Just kidding. I'm white.
Oh, come on, bro,
dude.
God.
Now, important context. She had like connection to South Africa. Like either she grew up there, she had relatives there, and she was poking fun at like provincial American attitudes, and she only had like 200 something followers and didn't think that anybody was going to see it.
No, she was not famous. She was not well known.
She's a person. She's a normal person.
But it ended up, she got on the plane. Her phone there was no Wi-Fi on the plane at the time, of course. And
then it was Sam Biddle from Valleywag at the time. Sam Biddle, who's a journalist, like found it and picked it up, and it became so huge that the hashtag "Has Justine landed yet?" was trending.
Justine landed?
She was
yet?
banned from the country she was landing in by the time she landed.
She was fired from her job by the time she landed.
Yeah.
It was like her whole life had been ruined while she was on this flight, and it was this whole just absolutely gleeful display of people. And John Ronson wrote the book So You've Been Publicly Shamed, not about Justine Sacco, but like she was sort of the frame of the whole book, being like, there were people who were like, hope you get raped by an N-word and then you get AIDS or whatever. And it's like, wait, who's worse here? The guy who said, I hope you get raped by an N-word, or the lady who said, I'm not going to get AIDS because I'm white? Because she was clearly kidding.
She could have turned that around and been like, actually, I was being woke because, you know, if you're white, you have access to, I don't know. She fucked up. That's her own fault.
It was very
you have
early
access
days.
to the AIDS
It was very
cure?
early days.
Yeah, this was before you could do the double reverse uncancel like that.
Yeah, okay.
That's not how,
This is
not
before
how it
wokeness.
works.
These days, everyone's got the double reverse uncancel. Like everyone's got that unlocked.
Plus, she didn't even have time to like set up a YouTube channel and start filming reactionary content.
Didn't know
and
the
then like
ukulele.
get fully into it.
Couldn't buy the ukulele in time.
Exactly.
I'm looking at her LinkedIn page, though. She landed on her feet. She's doing great. She was the VP of communications for FanDuel after that. She was only unemployed for a couple months, and then now she is the COO of Match Group, which I don't know what that is, but it's some sort of tech company.
Like
with 15,000
Match.com.
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, Match.com. Yep.
Yeah, it's Match.com, which owns
Okay,
like,
so she went.
she's
So
fine.
she went from being canceled to a vampire on the system of American.
She
capitalism.
racismed her way up to the top.
That's
dude.
the dream.
and that's what does happen to a lot of these people.
Yeah, because
is,
canceling
like,
isn't fucking real.
It's not real.
No.
Yeah.
It just boosts your profile with a specific crowd, like especially these days. Maybe not like 10 years ago it was like that, but these days if you get canceled, like you're gonna like get a deal. You're gonna get some deals from whoever.
Yeah,
like,
the guy at
political group you
FanDuel who
associate
thinks
with.
you're based for saying that. Like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You'll get on Rogan at the very least.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
and that'll do a lot for your. Genuinely, I'm not even joking.
Yeah,
That'll do
yeah,
a
yeah.
lot to boost your.
Well, I think
profile.
what you're also
Yeah.
describing is that, like, since this happened to this woman, like a whole bunch of systems have been built to deal with this sort of thing. None of them are particularly good, but like society reacted to this, and now you can uncancel yourself or recancel yourself or reverse. You can just it's now normal, although it's going away.
You
which is
can
also
become
weird.
the most canceled person on X. You could just not X the everything app, but
X
just
the
like,
everything app. You're talking about going
No,
X the-
that too as well. But
talking about my favorite app, X the everything.
X the everything app.
I mean, at the time, my recollection from reading about it was that the only option she had was she like had to hire one of those SEO sites to like write sort of empty websites about her that were like, Justine Sacco is a communications professional. Like, it was like, that was the way she
Yeah,
tried
like
to
Seth Dillon.
launder her reputation.
Yeah, no, it's kind of insane how there's been like an entire industrial complex to form around boosting up these canceled people. Like Jordan Peterson, he's been someone I've been kind of poking fun at a lot lately, because I don't know if you guys have seen, but he's been
he's doing great. He's doing really well.
Wonderful. He's definitely doing. He's all mentally there.
Yeah.
But he's had to like go under, I'm doing air quotes, re-education for his like college board.
I'm sorry.
'Cause
Who is
he's
this?
a
Who
real
we're talking about?
psychologist.
Jordan Peterson.
Jordan
Oh, okay,
Peterson.
okay.
Jordan Balthazar Peterson the second.
Is that what the B? Wait, is that what the B stands for?
I believe
Might as well be.
that is correct. yeah.
Isn't it weird that I've never even considered what it could? I thought it was just like a letter. I was like, maybe it doesn't stand for anything.
It's
It's
Brent,
like Donald J.
burnt.
Trump.
burnt. Balthazar is way cooler. You tricked me, Whack. I almost thought Jordan Peterson was cool for a second.
I saw him live
Peterson.
once. It was
Jordan?
not good. Yeah.
What did he say?
I
Did he
saw him
cry in front of a group
Burzum.
of crying men also?
me and my dad went to go see him speak at a Bitcoin convention in Miami.
hell yeah. Oh, I know it smelled crazy in there.
It did.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, everyone was pissed because Dave Portnoy was supposed to show up, but he never showed up. So the crowd was like not on Jordan Peterson's
Oh, man. What a
I didn't even
fucking
know that
event.
Jordan Peterson was on that Bitcoin grift.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
news to me.
side. Oh yeah. He says it's like a really good way to be like to build generational wealth. You know?
Oh, great call.
Yeah. My grandfather actually invested in Bitcoin, which is
can
how I got
buy-
into podcasting.
You could buy so many benzos with Bitcoin. You can buy unlimited amounts of benzos.
Your article, Ryan, about like how it sucks to go viral was good, but it kind of is, now that we're talking about this, makes me think about your other article that you was more recent. I think it was about your intentional gaming of the Twitter algorithm. Can you tell us a little bit about that story, and then maybe we can have some follow-ups afterwards?
Yeah, sure. So when Elon Musk kind of brought back the For You tab thing, it was like making my head hurt every time I turned it on. And I had a visceral reaction to it. It was an awful, awful tab. But then I started to realize that like if it was default, then most people were probably using it. And I noticed the engagement on all my tweets are going down. And I even used I got like suspicious because I had a really anti-Musk tweet go super viral. And then I just got no engagement for a while. And I was like, did I get shadow banned? Because that would be awesome. But I wasn't shadow banned. I just became bad at Twitter. So I was like, I should figure out how to use Twitter for now times. So I spent a while trying to figure it out. And then I kind of noticed like Derek Guy, the menswear guy, kind of getting to these same kinds of snowballing viral things. And I was like, I bet I could like do that with something I'm obsessive about. So I just like tweeted a whole bunch about like Marvel movies, and that triggered it, and it went like pretty sufficiently viral. And that's when I figured out like what I think was happening to the menswear guy, which is that like they had tweaked it so that quote tweeting and threading were like interacting more powerfully than they used to, and then it would like sort itself into the For You tab. I don't think it's I think it's different now. I can't get any engagement on Twitter anymore, so I have no idea.
So before our audience gets to you, can you answer for your crimes of being a Marvel fan?
Oh yeah, well I love superheroes, and I love intellectual property, and I love watching my favorite intellectual property interact on a big screen. Like there's nothing
I
better.
think that's a pure and beautiful love, and I think if any of our audience is upset about that, you can reach out to me. I'll take your complaints. Leave Ryan alone, you sons of bitches.
I just think that like all cops are superheroes, and that's why I'm fine that with superheroes being cops, you know, because like to me they're one and the same.
So true. We got to get you on my Plex server. I just added a bunch of Marvel stuff.
Awesome. Yeah, let's watch Quantum Mania.
Yeah, man.
I saw that in the
She-Hulk Attorney at Law. No, you fucking. Oh, you have kids. You have kids though. That doesn't count.
No. I saw it by myself.
Come on, bro.
I was the only person in the theater for Quantum Mania, and man, was that movie even by the lowest possible standards? It was
terrible.
So fucking bad.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It's kind of crazy how Marvel has kind of fallen off, like in the cultural relevancy and also just in quality.
Well, it's funny, Ryan. You have you wrote a little bit about that too, of how like Marvel movies now are more about. They used to be more about. I don't know. How would you describe your critique there? You know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, it's weird to think about Marvel, like because it used to be such a part of my part of my life. Like I've marathoned all of them a couple times when it was still physically possible. And I liked them. And now it's so far beyond that. Like I can't even remember the feeling. But I think what it is that like the world moved on. The streaming services that they're trying to cram these things into, like don't really support them properly. And people like just don't have the time to consume that much content about one thing. And so it's all kind of falling apart in this really weird way. Have you watched like a movie from the 90s recently? It's exhilarating. Man, I miss movies.
Oh my God. I watched, this is so funny that you say that because I watched the perfect 90s movie to sort of encapsulate what you're saying, which is the 1995 blockbuster Sandra Bullock vehicle, The Net.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's so good because it's like very formulaic and very easy to follow. And she's like a lonely girl who just eats Chinese food in her apartment all the time. And also she is like a FBI informant or something. And it's like these kinds of, and then also like she's getting doxxed by like hackers on the internet. And she has to like, she finds out that her identity has been erased because all of our identities are on the computer. And it's so funny
Such
that
a simple time that was.
Yeah, it's so funny that in 1995 she's like, no, I'm not this person, I'm this person. And they're like, doesn't say it here, lady. We're tearing your house down with all your stuff inside. And it's like, that would never happen now, let alone, in 1995. It doesn't matter. None of that's really at question here. She works on the computer and she is in trouble with the computer. And so now they're tearing her house down. And that's all that matters if you're watching the film.
Yeah, like movies in the 90s were just like about like people. Like, have you ever seen like The Fugitive? Harrison Ford's character is just a guy. He's just like, so like the climax happens at like a conference for like an award show for doctors or something. Like movies were just like about normal people for a while, like pretty normal people. But
the end of that movie is just him like running around on a roof. There's nothing super about it.
It would have been cool if Captain America showed up, though. I agree that like, it would have been better if Thanos was there. I agree.
The thing that I found, I watched Terminator 2 for the first time in a long time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
like the amount of character development that takes place before the first big action scene, it's like 20 plus minutes, 25 minutes.
Movie's great. What if you took a killer robot from the future and you gave him Bart Simpson as best friend for a while, and then he spent the whole movie killing cops? What a formula!
That sounds amazing.
What an incredible movie.
That's all you need.
James Cameron simply does not miss.
He loves killing cops and Marines in his movies.
He's
I know what I'm watching tonight. God damn.
American He's going to kill American officials. Those people will.
I
die
was
in his
reading
films.
after I saw the movie about this, and apparently he like has a real problem with cops. And like the part of the reason he made the T-1000 a cop is he was like, you know, if you give someone too much power, they lose all humanity, and that's how I feel about cops, and that's why the T-1000 is a cop. So
rare boomer
true.
W.
Yeah,
Very
so
rare
James
boomer
Cameron's
W.
ACAB.
Common
Big Jim never
common
fails.
James
He
Cameron
never
W though.
fails.
Yeah, it's very, very, yeah.
And I'll always stand by the Avatar movies. Great.
That,
movies.
that I can't go there with you guys. I'm sorry.
Oh no, the second Avatar
You're wrong,
was
Alex.
very good, very good. There was
It's
a whale
so
in
good.
it, and he is my friend.
The whale. Oh my god. Yeah.
There is a talking
That
whale,
movie
and he
went
is my
crazy.
friend.
Shout out to the
Um,
Tilcoon. He did that before orcas started taking down cruise ships too.
Yes, he did.
Or
They
yachts
saw
or
the
whatever.
movie, and they were like, "We can do that."
There's more orcas than there are yachts.
But to try to synthesize, all of these points, I think that we are at a moment of profound, like, I guess you could call it late stage capitalism, but it's just like structural rot. And you can see it with Marvel movies, you can see it with Twitter, you can see it with all of these systems that were really big 10 years ago. And then we like came out of the pandemic, and the people running these systems were like, they still work, guys. Everything's the same. We can go back, and we can't go back. And it's going to take a little bit, I think, for the people in charge of these to realize that like we are moving on. The vibe or whatever has shifted, and it's happening for Marvel movies, and it's happening for people getting canceled on Twitter, you know?
What that makes me think of is like a sort of weird fact that I think is very important in informing boomer culture is that and I think we've talked about it on the show. We've talked about it amongst ourselves, but like the Grateful Dead were landlords. That's why they moved to Haight-Ashbury, was to flip property in San Francisco. Bob Dylan is currently a landlord, and I think there is a certain truth in the fact that like, yeah, their politics suck, but their messaging is like good. And I think that the next like step in whatever the internet is going to be will need to be like a fake revolutionary, somebody who is straight up like, we need to kill cops, sign up for an account on my website. And I don't think that any
Eat
like
Taco Bell.
yeah. Well, I mean, but that's what it is. I
Yeah.
think Taco Bell needs to be like, fuck the police in like an advertisement. I think something like that will be like the next thing, where it's like, if like Lil Durk or somebody is like, I don't like the police, and this is where I post about my thoughts. I think anything like that will be that is going to be the next step, is like a fake revolutionary that is commercialized,
so, like-
because that's been so successful in the past.
Jordan Peterson tweets in this era will be so golden.
So-
Oh my
Jordan
God.
Peterson could get on the team with a fake revolutionary. I think he could be like, the police represent the Dragon of Chaos and also Liv Mas. That's I think what we...
Big news. I just checked. ACAB Journal, the live journal for anti-police discourse, is not taken. The URL is free.
Okay.
So
ACAB Journal
we
at
can do this.
livejournal.net or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Come to my
and start-
online portal.
get Dollar Shave Club on your side, and also start hawking a VPN. And you also need to say that the police should be killed. And I think you've really got a winning formula in your hands.
And then buy Raid Shadow Legends or whatever.
All of it. We know the sponsors. We know what's going on.
Yeah,
there.
I love NordVPN. That's the big one, right? Yeah.
Nord
that's
is the
the-
one
yeah.
that sells your data. Express is the one that costs more. So you're gonna have to pick between the two.
I have owned the URL jiveurinal.com for about 10 years. I keep meaning to do something with it, but I don't know
Wait
what
for inspiration to strike.
I would like
There's
to
a
be
par- there's
flushed
a-
down the Jive urinal.
There's a part of me that just wants to make it my professional website.
Hi, I'm Alex.
One
You
of
can
these
find me
days.
at jiveurinal.com. Sorry, I used to do.
That kind of goes pretty hard.
Just
Yeah,
say
that's
I
pretty
used
good.
to do something else with it, and don't elaborate.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, do you have anything else you want to discuss? Plug? What else you got going on, my friend?
Oh, can I plug something? I've never had a
By all
pluggable
means.
thing on a podcast before. So
Oh, yeah, man.
Perfect.
I read a newsletter called Garbage Day. I've turned that into like a live show that's debuting in October in Bushwick at a place called Elsewhere, October 18th. Please come see it. When will this episode come out?
Within the week.
I'm gonna try and have it done by Friday.
Okay, never mind. But yeah, so yeah, please, if you're listening and you like the sound of my voice and you would like to see what my face looks like, come see that. And then, yeah, just if you like the words that are coming out of my mouth, read garbageday.email, which is my newsletter where I post. That's the only place I post now, basically. So
cool, man.
But thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so glad.
Thanks for coming.
It's it's been awesome. Yes, you can follow us at patreon.com/Western Kabuki. We'd love to see you in there. We do try to reply to Patreon comments as best we can. And it's the best way to reach us on our Discord because it's easier to reply to just the Patreon people than it is to reply to everybody else yelling at us about various issues with the Minecraft server. So
it's officially not hosted by us anymore. I stopped paying. I said, fuck this. I don't know who's one of our listeners, I think, took it upon themselves to host it, which I'm grateful for because at all times of day I'd be getting pings. It's broken. Come fix it. I don't know how to fucking fix a Minecraft server. Grow up. Anyway.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to Western Kabuki. We love you all. And thanks again to Ryan Broderick. Please follow the Garbage Day newsletter.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Western Kabuki. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear an entire separate episode featuring Marcos from the Ain't Shit Show, you can hear that on our Patreon, patreon.com/Western Kabuki. Thanks so much.